This is the Perfect RIA, in case you didn't know. Bringing you all the strategies to help your business grow. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Sit back and listen in while you feel the beat, yeah!
The scene opens with Jarvis waving his hand and holding a sign that says Mr. and Mrs. Client.
Aloha, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Perfect RIA podcast. I'm your host, Micah, and with me, as usual, the legendary Matthew Jarvis. Bud, what's going on?
Oh, Micah, I'm just living the dream. I'm sitting here in my office up in Federal Way, Washington. And, of course, you are sitting in what looks like an emergency staircase, allegedly in Hawaii.
Allegedly in Hawaii. Fair enough. The sunrise is not up yet, but about 30 yards away is the ocean. So that is kind of my background noise going on right now, which is fantastic. But, yeah, this is the time that we step away. We need to do a whole thing on vacations and living remote and all that other fun stuff as well. But, yeah, this is the time that my whole family, extended family as well, we call it the herd, all comes together for either between a week and 4 weeks in Hawaii, depending on who they are. And we get to spend some more quality time together, which is fantastic. And Jarvis, one of the things we need to do a whole podcast on this that Kelly, my wife, has brought up many times is whenever we have an extended time somewhere, she's like, hey, when do you need to work? When do you need to do podcasts? When do you need to do these other things? Now, she's not saying it because I have this backlog of stuff that I need to catch up on and do this. She also knows the entrepreneurial mindset, my mindset, which is really, it says, hey, if I don't have my creative space and time, there's a point in the vacation where I'm going to get grouchy, especially when we're somewhere for 3 or 4 weeks. It's like, no, I need to do some podcasts. I need to do some content. I need to do some productive things that I view productive. Otherwise, I just get in this grouchy mood. So thanks for letting me be this outlet.
Yeah, and that, like so many things, is on a spectrum, right? So if you're on vacation and an advisor and you're constantly getting alerts and checking emails and you can't get off your phone, that's a real problem. On the opposite extreme, Mike, like you said, if you can't find that creative space that you need, that can also be a problem as well. And it all boils back, like everything we do, about being intentional. And so, Mike, I know one of your things is you often do work before your kids get up in the morning. So, boy, that's my time on vacation to get this in. This is when we're recording these podcasts, is early in the morning. But to say, just here's what I need to have a healthy vacation, not to wait, as Kelly so aptly pointed out, not to wait until things get bad, until you're grumped to be around, but say, hey, this is what I need for this vacation to really be productive. But again, it's got to be intentional, not reactive.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Speaking of being intentional, not reactive, we need to talk about some tips and some phenomenal communication that's there. And these are some things that, man, it borderline feels like cheating how effective these things are in communication, but it's not. It's putting good tools and technology into place into old school practices. And really, Jarvis, it's one of the ways that I found with technology, the more that we embrace technology to use old school successful practices, the better things are. When we try to use too much of a technology of a new kind of widget kind of thing, a new whiz bang, it doesn't go off very well with my clients. But when I do something that works really well, like when I do a meeting summary with a client at the very end of a meeting, clients love that. And then if I digitize that and get it to them again where they can rewatch it, they friggin' love those things. So it's taking this old concept that's worked really well and I'm putting the spin of technology on it. And man, that works really good.
Yeah, that's a great distinction you bring up, Micah. A lot of times we can get this the sexiness of new technology or a new system or a new way to prospect or whatever the case may be. And people think, well, the old ways have died. The old ways no longer count. But the old ways are the only ways. And so, yes, we can adapt them to new technology, but the same things apply. And Micah, let's talk specifically about sending video messages, right? Now, some people listening would say, well, that's not a very new technology. You've been able to do that for a long time. I would argue that only recently has it been able to work seamlessly using a Loom or a BombBomb, where it's a very easy system to use. But all of the same rules apply as it were a phone call, a physical letter, a billboard on the freeway. Yes. All of the same rules apply because while technology changes, we're the same humans we were a generation ago, 5 generations ago, 5,000 years ago, whatever the period of time is. We're the same humans.
Jarvis, one of the things is I'm coaching advisors on how to use BombBombs, right? So whether it's Christian or bringing on a new advisor to our team, which we're super excited about as well, and I'm working with them across the board, it's, hey, you got to remember this video that you're going to send will be taken out of context. So you got to include all the context necessary for that, right? Whether it's like, hey, this is a follow-up on our meeting that we just had, and these are the things we talked about, and da-da-da. This is a quick summary of what we talked about. If what I'm saying is not what you said, this is a great time to bring it to my attention, right? So we always want to put that in there because clients, in my experience with these BombBombs, And we'll get through how we do them and the pros and cons of them. But clients will rewatch these dozens of times, I'm kidding you not, including right before our next meeting, which is so helpful, right? They get a quick little recap of it because I'm looking at the same thing in my notes, recapping for the meeting. They're watching this as well. So it does really good. The other thing that we've noticed is they forward these on. They forward these to their CPA, to their attorney, to their friends, etc., saying, hey, look what my financial advisor is doing. And they send that information out. That's the reason I say it will be taken out of context, because if they just click the forward button to their CPA, you had an hour-long meeting about all these great things. You summarize it in 2.5, 3 minutes, and then it goes to a CPA. You got to make sure you're putting all the appropriate information in there. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally does. And on that note of out of context, again, everything that's new are the same rules as old. The first rule of business law is never put anything in writing or on a bomb that you don't want to have read back to you in court. Now,
yes.
that would be like on a CYA side, but also, for example, like I'm never going to send an email, a letter, or a phone call, or excuse me, an email, a letter, or a bomb on an apology when we screwed something up, because that's a conversation we need to have face to face. That's already, when there's a mistake, that's already a heated situation. And all of those means of communication, other than me talking to you on the phone or talking to you in person, that's me hiding behind that level of communication. And people realize that. And by the way, I also don't want clients to be able to go back and watch that apology video again and again, right? Same if you send an apology gift, by the way. As a little side tangent, if I'm sending an apology gift, it needs to be a consumable. I don't want to send a desk trophy that says, here's when we screwed up. I want to send a bottle of wine or cookies or chocolates or a fruit basket or something that's consumable. Again, this is everything that's old becomes new again.
You know, one of the things, too, when you're thinking about that, I like to think about the bombs or the videos that's out there. We use bombs in our office, so I'm just going to say that. In the bombs that we use in our office, it's an accelerant, right? If you have a great experience and I throw a bomb in there, I'm accelerating the great experience. If something went wrong and I throw a bomb in there, I'm accelerating the poor experience, right? So you got to be really careful on how you use these because they are so powerful. So which ways would I not use a bomb? If a client has an issue, if a mistake's been made, pick up the friggin' phone and make the phone call. And even if I don't have the full answer, like if a mistake's been made, and we've done other podcasts on this in the past, I love to have the full answer, but I can't wait for the full answer to make communication. If I know a mistake has been made, I'm going to review it, see if I can come up with an answer quickly. If not, I'm picking up the phone to the client. I'm letting them know, says, hey, a mistake has been made. Now, when a client onboards with me, Jarvis, and I know you do the same thing, when I'm reviewing the agreement with them, our financial planning contract, one of the things I tell them on our last pages of miscellaneous disclosures, I say, hey, pretty much what this says is the only time I walk on water is when it's frozen. So I'm going to make mistakes. And when I make a mistake, I will pick up the phone and I will call you and I will tell you I made a mistake, and then we'll figure out the best way to fix that. Is that going to be okay with you? And the clients are like, yeah, I mean, just address it. We're not perfect. I wish we were. And so I want to honor those things. Good news is it doesn't happen very often. But for the expedience of time, I'm going to call them as soon as I know about it, let them know I'm on top of it, and then we're working on a solution. Sorry, a little tangent on that.
No, it is. And there's other episodes you can find. There'll be notes back to the show notes on that. But it is. You've got to get on the phone as quick as you possibly can. And you've got to just fall on your sword. And you say, boy, geez, we made a mistake. A mistake was made. Even if it was made by your custodian. Here we are on a side tangent. It doesn't matter who made the mistake. A mistake was made. I am going to get it fixed. If you know how it's going to get fixed, that's great. If you don't, I don't know yet. I'm going to update you here on how it gets fixed. So Micah, on these videos, like all methods of communication, I love this idea that it's an accelerant. If you're sending out a poor video, it's not going to help you. Examples of poor video would be if it's 20 minutes long. If they can't tell it was about them personally. If the lighting is bad. Now, you don't need to have celebrity style lighting, but like if they can't see your eyes, this is something that happens if you have bright overhead lights and your eyes get shaded, they can't see your eyes. You start to get suspicious when that happens. So there are some basic things, an easy ring light around your laptop. Sound needs to be good. Lighting needs to be good. And then, Micah, my favorite thing.
Perfect. Good, not perfect. Yes.
My favorite thing, which I learned from you, every time you do a video, and I do it now too, you hold up a piece of paper that you've written the client's name on, or I'll also have, if I have like an agenda, like if we were going to have a meeting and it got rescheduled, I'll pull up the agenda and that screen share will be there. So it'll say Mr. and Mrs. Klein, or it'll say Merry Christmas, Dave, or whatever holiday we're celebrating, or Happy Birthday, Larry, whatever that is. I want to have that up so they know as soon as they see this image, this is not a generic YouTube clip. This is literally a video I recorded for them.
Yes, personalized as much as you can. Always having their name in it, walking through things is going to be a fantastic thing that you want to do with a bomb. Other thing inside of here, I wouldn't use a bomb to explain a new technical concept to a client. I would use a bomb and do frequently to follow up on a technical thing that we're going to do. Now, technical, this could be a Roth conversion, right? Maybe it's our first time we're doing a Roth conversion with a client, etc. I've explained it in a client meeting or in a phone call, and I'm going to follow that up with a bomb. That's fantastic. Another reasons that I like to use bombs is to respond to email questions, right? Longer questions that come up. One, I'm not a big typer, so I prefer that video communication. Now, I'm also not in my office all of the time that I need to respond. So what do you do about that? Now, as Jarvis, you point out, you should have good lighting. You should have good sound. Also, if something needs to be a timely response, just explain it. Right? I had one, I was at a conference and an issue came up that I needed to respond to a client with, and I jumped on from a conference room and did a quick little bomb. And the first thing I did is hey, Bob, it's Micah. I hope you're doing well. You notice I'm not in my office. I'm actually at a tax conference learning about A, B, and C that's going to help you for retirement, etc. But I saw your note and I really wanted to make sure that we address this. So I want to address my background. I want to address my attire, why I'm not in a suit and a tie, etc. Because these are questions they're going to have. And I want to answer those so they can focus on what I'm saying, not thinking about where's he at? What's he doing? Right? All these other things that will come up.
Yeah, that's critical. I was meeting with an advisor, quick side tangent, over the weekend. One of our Invictus members, we were talking about his prospect process. And I said, hey, listen, at the beginning of the process, at the beginning of every interaction with a prospect, you need to explain how that interaction ends, because the elephant in the room is, what happens at the end of this meeting? Am I getting a hard sell? Yep. So same with your video. If you're in a weird situation, I want to lead with whatever the elephant in the room is. You cannot hide the elephant in the room. And the harder you try, the bigger it becomes. Yeah,
it's very much it, right? And it's okay, prospect meeting, tangents, etc. When we do a seminar, we do the exact same thing, right? If I'm doing an 8-hour seminar with federal employees and they're all coming together, which is fantastic, in the first 15 minutes of our presentation, we're going to explain what it looks like at the end of the day. We're saying, hey, the reason we're doing this is to bring on clients. We know we can help half of you in the room, half we can't help. Great news. This is the only sales pitch you're going to hear. At the end of the day, I am going to ask you to fill out an evaluation form that rates us, and there's a checkbox on there that if you want to come in for a consultation, and you all have my permission to push back on me. If you feel I'm doing a sales pitch at any time, you raise your hand, you call me out on it. You have my full permission to do it, because this is not about a sales pitch. This is about getting you great information about your federal benefits. Is that going to be okay? And you can just, the tension in the room just kind of relaxes, and it's sweet. Let's go into that. And if somebody asks a question about our services and what we provide, we say, hey, you know what? That's a great question. I'm not here to do a sales pitch. If you want to talk about this later at the end of the day, I'm delighted to talk about that. But today we're just talking about your benefits.
I love it.
I love it. Excited about it.
No, it's great. Something that's related to that. It's always about managing expectations and making it easy for the client. When we first started doing video messaging, I would put in the body of the email. So I wouldn't use the email service that the video production, like Loom or BombUp, could send the video to them directly. I don't want that. I copy and paste the thing and I drop it into an email body. That way it's coming from me. There's compliance issues. There's lots of reasons for that. But above the video of me, I say, hey, Dave and Sue, we're trying out this new technology. Please let me know if it works. Smiley face. If it doesn't, here's the 3 bullet points. Glad to jump on a call. So I'm already taking away the pressure of, hey, this thing might not work. They might click on it. There's some error. There's some kind of thing. Instead of them getting frustrated, they know, like, hey, here were the 3 things. They weren't critical. Go ahead and give me a call. So again, I always want to give people an out. Especially with technology, I don't want people to get stuck down this technology rat hole trying to watch a video that they thought was critical and it was just me saying hi.
Yeah, I should get the template. We'll make sure we have our bomb template that we use that when we send these videos out that kind of says that same thing. If this doesn't work, just pick up the phone and call us, right? And let us know, and we will get this fixed and addressed. Because I have sent them off before, and it's added to our process now. Whoever's sending the video needs to check the audio quality. Hit the play button, and did it actually record sound, right? How many of us have sent out videos? At least this guy has, right? I've sent out videos, and my microphone's been on mute. And so I'm like, blah, 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 chatting, and the client has no idea. This lovely client, she emailed back. She goes, Micah, you look so great in the video, and you're super animated. I'm sure you had great information. If only there was sound and I could hear what you were saying. And sure enough, my microphone was on mute, and I sent out the entire thing. So these things are going to happen. So of course, that was a mistake. I picked up the phone and I called Sue. We had a great conversation and laughed about my silliness. And then we re-got her that video because she did want to see it. So yeah, owning those things are going to happen. They need new technology. But I gotta say, the overwhelming response from clients across the board with these freaking bombs is amazing, Jarvis. They absolutely love getting them. So much more than just an email. And I really think it's because we're so much more animated, right? You got to know your frames as well, which I'm struggling with in this, what do you call it, stairwell that I'm in? All right. So, Yeah, so you got to know your frames, but then you got to be super emotional. You got to be super engaged inside of that meeting. So when you're talking about things, use those hands, use those animations, get those in the frame. Don't have your hands kind of hidden. Don't be looking off the same. You got to look into that green light where your camera is, and you got to be talking to that, not looking down at what your notes are or down off the screen, etc., like that. Just like you would in a Zoom meeting, I need to be engaging with my clients.
Yeah, and it borders on, and again, all old things are the same. It borders almost on being, melodramatic when you're giving presentation, not to the point of
100%.
silliness, but I'm just watching, Micah, as you and I are talking, because we can see each other while we record this, right? Our eyebrows are moving, our hands are moving, we're leaning in and out, because it's trying to be a masterful communicator. How do I make that communication experience as pleasant as possible? I recently got back from attending a couple of Broadway shows with my daughters. And again, the Broadway performers, now the tickets to those Broadway shows were significantly more expensive than seeing what seems like literally the same show at my community theater. Right? We saw Phantom of the Opera as well. I can see Phantom pretty much anywhere.
You don't care about value, pretty much. You just find blowing money?
I paid an exorbitant amount of money to buy these tickets last minute, and it was a phenomenal experience. And the actors and the actresses, right, they're fully engaged. Anybody who's seen a Broadway show knows this. The same is true for the client experience. Your ability to communicate effectively, the ability for them to say, wow, I'm so excited to see Jarvis, I'm so excited to see Micah, that's critical to your success, and it applies to the video messages as well.
Yeah, confidence, right? Having confidence, having that charisma, and really being able to communicate that to a client is so critical.
Mike, a quick 5-star tip that I'd recommend. You mentioned a minute ago not looking down at your notes. By the way, whenever I'm on a Zoom meeting, a video meeting with a client, I always make this joke right out of the bat. I say, hey, I'm going to lean down to take notes. And so if you see this blinding glare off my head, I'm not checking my text messages, I'm taking notes. And we all laugh at that, right? When I'm doing video messaging, I'll either have it typed in a Word document and I'll have that Word document right next to my camera, or I'll have a Post-it note with the bullet points stuck next to my camera. So I'm not doing, you can't see in a podcast, I'm not looking off to the side, I'm not looking down, I'm looking right at them. And Mike, you mentioned look at the green light, the blue light, whatever color your light is, I'm imagining that's their eyeball. And I want to look directly at that and speak directly to that.
Yeah, and again, sometimes things will come up where I need to look down because I need to review the agenda, right? Because if I'm doing a meeting summary, I'm taking it on my Remarkable or I'm taking it on my iPad and my homework sheet's right there. And when I look down, just address it. It's super easy, right? Hey, Jarvis, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything from our meeting today. Forgive me, I'm looking down at our agenda because I want to make sure we covered A, B, and C in these things. And that's going to be 100% okay. You just have to address those things. If you're not looking in their eyeball talking, you have to address what you're doing. And it just makes sense and lets that video flow.
So, Micah, you mentioned meeting summaries, right? So post-meeting, that's a great example of using a video message. What are some other places that you've used video messages that advisors could start doing? Because I think this is an easy thing. Sometimes we talk about value adds and advisors say, hey, these are really tricky to make. And some of them really are. We have technology that does that. But these video messages are relatively simple to do. You could quickly go through your top 100 clients, send them all a message. But what are some examples of things you would send?
Sure. So meeting summaries, responding to emails, right? Which are, if the email is not like a less than a 1-paragraph answer, I like to use a bomb to get more in depth in it. For me, it's a more effective way of communicating. So I'm going to use those. Anytime an issue has come up, now this is from going from a personalized bomb to a firm-wide bomb, right? When there's been a massive change that affects our clients, sometimes we'll just jump on and do a bomb to say, great news. This Secure Act 2.0 has just passed. There's a couple of things that are going to be effective. Great news. We've already reviewed all of your information for 2022. You're taken care of. Now in 2023, there's some things that we're going to discuss, and we're going to bring that up in March. Now, same thing in our newsletter that's going to go out, but why not throw in a little bomb and send it out to all of the clients? It works out fantastic, so they get to see you a little bit more. So we can use it for firm-wide messages as well. I use it for introductions to CPAs and estate planning attorneys when I'm meeting them, especially if I'm playing phone tag. I'll shoot them a bomb. And generally that helps get in the door just a little bit easier, or if I need to address multiple things to the same party at once. So I got an attorney, I got a CPA, and I got the client having a hard time getting us all on the same page. I love doing a bomb and sending it to all of them, right? So they're all seeing that same message across the board. Same with estate planning and family meetings. I like using it in those cases. And sometimes with client summaries, if a client can't come in for a meeting for whatever reason and get on the schedule, and then I can shoot them a quick little summary on what's going on, what they're doing, etc. I don't like using bombs if we have to do something new with a client and getting their email response in it, right? If they've never done a Roth conversion, if we have to do a trust, if we have to do these complex estate planning things, and I say, hey, this is what you need to do, and the response is, yeah, go ahead and do it. No, we need more of an in-depth conversation with that. Maybe that's just my own insecurities on this, fair enough, but that is something that's where I kind of draw the line in that. If it's simple issues or I'm explaining things that have already been done, I don't have an issue with that, but I don't like to get into new technical stuff unless we can have a conversation.
I love that. I also use that one you mentioned, clients who, for whatever reason, can't come in for Surge. That's a great one to send them. Like, here's the couple bullet points we were going to talk about. Hope you're doing great. We also recently did it for all of our clients with inherited IRA accounts because the rules have changed dramatically. Now, I'm not going to go through, I didn't in the videos go through and explain every nuance of Secure Act 2.0, 4,000 pages. Mr. and Mrs. Client, just wanted you to know that there's some new tax laws that impact your inherited IRA account. That's that Fidelity account ending in 555. Don't worry, we're on top of those. When we meet together in March, we're going to look at that together. But again, I just want you to know, you may see some headlines around that. We've got it under control. If you have any questions or concerns, reach out. Always glad to talk to you. Have a great day. And it can be that easy. Go ahead, please.
Oh, Travis, and you do that for individual clients. So did you think about doing it for just everyone as a mass that had inherited account, or do you just record each individual one?
We did that. We didn't have that many. We had about a dozen inherited accounts. And so for a dozen, that's kind of my threshold. If it's 10 to 20, I'm just going to take a minute. Bob and Sue, how are you? Just wanted you to know, If we were sending a message for everyone with a required distribution, then I'd probably just do a generic one like, hey, everyone, required minimum distribution updates. But my personal preferred method of communication is writing. I love writing. So it's in our client newsletter, our client letter. That's my favorite way of communicating. As I host this podcast.
As opposed to podcast. The other thing that I would use a BombBomb for is introducing a new team member or new advisor who's going to be in the meeting. So one of the things that I should have done a better job when we onboarded Christian is giving clients more of a heads up. Now, I thought, hey, we told them once, then they should know about it, right? Clearly not enough. And it went over really well, but some of the feedback was when Christian first started joining, he's like, hey, I would have preferred a heads up on this. So the email we sent that said he was joining, okay, fair enough. So I need to send more. So now as we onboard another advisor, that's one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to send BombBombs to all the clients in advance and probably do a co-BombBomb with him of just introducing him, letting him know, who he is, what he's talking about, and, how he's going to interact in the meeting and how beneficial it's going to be to the client.
Couple other just random things that come to mind, Micah. Content creation is always painful. It's always painful. Like I said, you've got to go back and watch it because you got to make sure the audio worked, right? That you didn't click your microphone off halfway through, whatever the case may be. It's painful. Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, is a great reminder on that you've got to do the reps. And at first, I don't know about you, Mike, my first couple of BombBomb videos took me 4 or 5 or 6 tries before I felt confident sending them. And I still wasn't in love with it. I still thought, geez, is my nose really that crooked? Do I really have those bad of wrinkles under my eyes? You know what? That's what they're used to looking at. So off we go.
Yeah, warts and all, right? I got to send this thing off. By the way, my stairwell view is getting a little bit better. So there's the beach and oceans there. Just wanted to point that out.
For those of you watching on the YouTube channel, you can see Micah's background.
That's right. So these are really key things. And then incorporating this out to your team, right? So I always like to start at the advisor level and saying, great, what are things going to work, et cetera. And these are things that I love the team to do as well, to send this out. Now, things that I don't put in a BombBomb is anything I wouldn't put in an email. So I don't do screen share of what their account values are, right? And then account numbers, et cetera, and then send that to them, right? That would be a no-go. What's there? What's another? I've used a BombBomb as well to explain buckets when a spouse couldn't make it to the meeting. So husband and wife were there, and then I would do a share screen. I would just cover up their personal information and just do it that way. And that works out fairly well.
I love it. Well, so like I said, this is a great tool. These video messaging, great tool. It is not, while the technology itself is new, the method of communication is unchanged. It's all about how do I deliver massive value? How do I give personalized, actionable advice? How do I make it entertaining and enjoyable? Doesn't mean I need theatrics and a fireworks show behind me. But again, I'm animated. I'm excited. My hands are in frame, Mike, as you pointed out. And I'm just doing whatever I can to make that client experience as good as it possibly can be, because we have to remember, money's very complicated. It's very hard. It's very emotional. We get jaded to it as advisors because we're dealing with it constantly, and it's not our money, right? You can always be objective about someone else's money. So whatever we can do to improve the client experience is something worth pursuing. It's something worth mastering.
You know, Jarvis, and one of the things too that we're tweaking right now, we have coming up. So I'm only going to allude to this a little bit because we haven't quite figured it out on how we're going to roll this out to other advisors. But with our prospect process, we've always done bomb videos, and it's gone over very, very well with our prospects. But now we're going to personalize a little bit more. We're actually going to get them some more unique information and kind of this own little guided experience that they're going to have on a digital side. So stay tuned for that. Again, we're experimenting with it. I don't like to talk too much in theory unless I'm very clear it's in theory. So right now this is in theory. Don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to experiment with it, and I'll give you the feedback on it.
Boy, I love it. Well, transitioning from, as you said, from theory to reality to action item, Micah, let's cover some real specific action items that advisors can take. My recommendation, this is something that we've implemented in our office, is that you're sending out, you decide how many outbound correspondence do we need each week on average to get through our whole client base on whatever period of time you need, quarterly, every 6 months. Some of that's going to depend on transitions going on in your office, the markets, etc. But say, hey, maybe it's 5. Hey, I need to send out 5 personalized messages a week for me to get through my entire client base. And the video messages are a great way to do it. Emails also fine if you have compliance issues. But again, how am I making proactive contact with my clients?
You know, on the compliance issues, you can talk with your compliance department about it. But keep in mind, if you're sending it through your email server, it's all email and it's already being archived and recorded. So pro tip on that. I would say next action item, just do it. Pick what you're going to do. Sign up for the service, whether it's Loom, BombBomb, whatever, and start doing these video messages. Start doing this a meeting summary. For me, that's the lowest IQ, easiest way to do it. Clients have massive value after that, especially prospects or new clients, etc. They're getting a summary of what it is. It's easier for your team. Your team can watch the videos as well. They know what actions to take because you're being very clear with your clients in them. They can bow that up with your homework sheet, etc. So just start. And if you need a place to start with your meeting summaries.
I love that. Additional action item, mark your calendar for March, where we're going to talk about the one big mistake that's holding you back from doubling your practice. The one big mistake. What is the one big mistake? You'll have to come to find out. Of course, Backstage Pass and Invictus members are already signed up. For all of you other listeners, though, come and sign up for this event. It's going to be phenomenal. We're also going to talk about some live events we have later in this year, in May, and again in September. So we have a lot of fun things coming up.
Perfect. Well, Jarvis, it's always a blast. And until next time, happy planning.
Happy planning.
Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice.